choice but to lace up. Every day is game day. Off my third contract, you still on that same play. Pop spit it out, but I got family sitting chain links. Oh, you bout that action? Tell them boys you bout the same thing. Get your popcorn ready. Half made, half amazing. Human highlight reel. You gon' sing my name in Beijing. Every rep I take, you'll see the pain that made me. It's gritty on a gridiron. Only one of us can stay king. Touchdown every time I touch down, and my defense shut down every time I touch ground. Yeah, lying harder, but I got the eye of an eagle. I put the city on my back. Look, I'm gonna ride for my people, and once I take the stage, I'm stuck like Evil Knievel. I built to conquer heights. My mind's a Danny DeVito, and once I get my first ring, I'm manifesting the sequel. Yo, this the IFL. I swear the men become heroes in the end. Are you ready for that? You ain't really about that. Are you ready for that? Are you ready for that? You ain't really about that. Are you ready for that?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you to Rio Rancho, New Mexico, the site of today's Western Conference matchup between your Northern Arizona Wranglers and the Duke City Gladiators. James Poovey coming to you live here alongside my broadcast partner, Mr. Ed Cole. Ed, unfortunately for the Wranglers, no playoffs this season, but today they are simply playing for pride, my man.
Yeah, and to hopefully come away with another double-digit victory total on the season. They moved to 10-6 with a victory over Duke City today. So there's a lot to play for still, even though the team was eliminated from the playoffs last night, courtesy of the Rattlers taking care of business in San Antonio. But yeah, all the team needs to do is go out there, focus on what they need to do, get their first victory in Rio Rancho over the Duke City Gladiators. I can't believe we've never won in Rio Rancho, JP and folks. 0-3.
There is something special, no doubt, about the Rio Rancho Event Center out there in New Mexico, just a bit southwest, I believe, of Albuquerque, out there in the countryside, if you will, there, Ed. And it's amazing, like you said, we have never gotten a victory there against the Duke City Gladiators, and some kind of home field advantage to be had there in Rio Rancho.
Yeah, and despite the record of 2-13 for Duke City, they've been in a lot of games this season, folks. 8 games this season. They've lost by 9 points or less. And last week in San Jose, they were hanging with the champions. They almost beat them in Rio Rancho a couple of weeks ago. Prior to that, JP. So in the third quarter, they were down 36-28. So they were close to Duke City before they pulled away for the victory. So this is going to be a tough game today, folks. Duke City is not going to lay down and easily give away a victory today. They're going to fight hard like they've done all season long. This is not going to be an easy victory should NAZ get it.
And let's face it, most games between the Wranglers and the Duke City Gladiators have come down to the final quarter, sometimes the final play, final drive of the game, and it always seems to be a great matchup and throw the records out the window, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And should Hassan Rogers, the new young quarterback they got a couple of weeks ago for Duke City, should he get the starter, or if it's Javin Kilgo? I know they substituted both of those guys. Hassan got the start last week in San Jose against Bay Area. Then Javin came in later in the third quarter. So depending on who they roll out, we'll see whatever NAZ will do defensively. But Hassan Rogers, this young man can run the football, JP and folks. This kid had 62 yards rushing, ran really well against Bay Area in San Jose in the first half, and then Bay Area kind of figured him out in the second half. And but Hassan Rogers, this kid is electric. You thought you thought some of the quarterbacks that the Wranglers faced running wise this season, like just the guys they faced all season was good. This kid can run. He's got some legs and some hops, JP.
And you mentioned the fact that Duke City able to hang with Bay Area Panthers last week out there in San Jose. So these guys, they're coming to play every single week. And you mentioned it, they're not going to lay down and go away quietly here. And the Wranglers are going to have to bring it, especially on the defensive side of the football today against that offense.
Oh, yeah. You talk about prideful, Northern Arizona being prideful. Duke City's prideful. They want to end the season with the win just as much as Northern Arizona wants. They want to go into the season with the victory, feeling good about themselves. They want to end up 3-13 and then see what the offseason will hold for them, just like Northern Arizona. We'll see what the postseason will hold for this football team after this football game, and we'll see. It'll be a different team come next season. We all know that this is a league where not a lot of teams really stay together completely intact. Judging by the way, we had 19 new players to start the season. JP, you remember that way back in March when we kicked off the season? Wow, this seemed like a long time ago, didn't it?
It sure does. And I got to say, Ed, playoffs or not, I'm really proud of the way this team played through some, adversity to say the least this season. And they really were able to gel quickly after the first part of the season. You mentioned it, basically a brand new football team. A couple of guys held over from last season's roster, but it was a whole new football team this season in Prescott Valley.
Oh yeah, I'm so proud of these young men for, as you mentioned, just coming together as quickly as they did, and to come to within, just a day of making the playoffs. Should Arizona have failed last night, it would have been a situation where if they beat Duke City today, they would have made the playoffs. So for them to be at week 19, I believe, of the season and still have a chance to make the playoffs, that says a lot about every single man on this roster, every coach, every person that was on the training staff, anybody on the support staff, for what they were able to do to come to 9-6 right now with a chance to make the playoffs and get a 10th victory today.
It certainly takes a village in the Indoor Football League to put a successful product on the field, and we're well aware of that as well. Let's take a look at some of the standings here as we close out the 2024 regular season today. We're the final game of the regular season here against the Duke City Gladiators. First spot clinched by the Bay Area Panthers. They'll have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. In the number 2 slot, very happy for the Vegas Nighthawks, their first playoff appearance in franchise history, Ed.
That is awesome. Next Saturday, they will host the Arizona Wranglers over at Lee's Family Forum. As you mentioned, their first playoff matchup in birth, and it's going to be at home. So I'm so proud for Ben Wilson and the Vegas Nighthawks. He's going to call his first playoff game as the voice of the Nighthawks. And of course, we know DL and Coach Pappin, they're going to call yet another playoff game next Sunday. That's going to be a great game also against San Diego out in Bay Area. Of course, they just played Bay Area last night in San Diego, held them to 20 points. So a week later, they turned right back around, kind of like when we played the Rattlers the last couple of seasons, right at the end of the season, JP, and then turn around the very next week and play them in the playoffs. But that should be a great game as well. Then if you want to scroll up, I'm looking at the schedule now. If you want to scroll up to the Eastern Conference, so Quad City's the number 4 seed. They're going to take on Green Bay next Friday night. Green Bay clinched the number 1 seed with their 13-3 record, and all 16 of their games were in the Eastern Conference. Crazy scheduling for them.
Wow.
But congratulations for Green Bay, 13-3. And then that next Saturday night, Massachusetts will travel down to Frisco. They'll take on the number 2 seeded Frisco Fighters. So all 4 of these games are going to be fantastic first round matchups.
They will indeed. And I'd like to get your prediction just now that we're officially out of the playoffs. Who do you think will rise to the occasion and show up there in Henderson, Nevada at Lee's Family Forum on Saturday, August 17th to battle for the IFL crown?
Well, obviously, any one of these 8 teams could make the championship and win it. But I would not. The road goes through Green Bay and Bay Area. I would not put it past the champions until you can knock them off. If San Diego is able to knock them off, or if they move on and face either Arizona or Vegas in the Western Conference Championship, until you can go to San Jose and knock off the reigning champions, then Bay Area's always got a shot. Green Bay, you've got to go to Green Bay. You've got to go to Wisconsin, knock off the Blizzard. 13-3. This team was on fire all season long. Great defense, great offense. It's a solid football team. So I would not put it past Green Bay and Bay Area making it out to Henderson in a couple of weeks for that IFL National Championship. But yeah, Massachusetts, Frisco, Quad City, Arizona, Vegas, San Diego Bay, I'll throw all the teams out. Any one of these teams can have a viable shot at winning the national championship. That's why you play the games, right, JP, to see who's going to come out on top and hoist that trophy in a couple of weeks out there in Henderson.
I got to side with you right there, Ed. I think it very well could be a battle of the Bays. If we say Green Bay against the Bay Area, both the teams have been simply dominant all season long. Green Bay has had a whale of a turnaround up there in Wisconsin, and they've really played some outstanding IFL football all season long. But only time will tell as we approach the playoffs, which start next week. And I'm extremely excited to watch some of those games and see how the whole thing plays out.
And for me, JP, it's about what can Frisco do. They've had a couple of really high seeds over the last couple of seasons, but we're not able to move on to the playoffs. Is this the year that they can knock off Massachusetts, go to the Eastern Conference Championship game again? Should that happen? Should they face either Quad City or Green Bay? Can they get over that hump JP, and finally make it to the national championship game, because we know with TJ Edwards at the helm, at the quarterback position, this kid is electric. This is an outstanding football team down in Frisco. Can they knock off Massachusetts and then potentially win the Eastern Conference and go into the championship game? I'm looking at Frisco because I want to see if they can step up and make those next steps to take them toward a national championship. And in the Western Conference, my goodness, these 4 teams, they're all stacked and loaded. Arizona very well could win the championship. They played really well down the stretch. Vegas, as you mentioned, their first playoff berth. They've got a home game at the site.
Yeah.
If they make it, JP, if they could make it to the national championship, they would host the game. How crazy would that be for Ben and the Nighthawks that they would be able to host it? But they've got a long way to go and a lot of work to do if they were able to do that. But then San Diego and Bay Area, both of those 2 teams, man, some Titans going at it, right?
No doubt it would be a huge advantage for the Vegas Nighthawks if they were able to pull it out and make it to that championship game on Saturday, August 17th. That'll be in the afternoon, I believe, this time. So exciting stuff. No doubt we'll all be tuned into the IFL Digital Network over the next couple of weeks to see who will be ultimately crowned champion of the 2024 IFL season. Earlier, we got to visit with one of our wide receiver extraordinaires in Tosin Oyekanmi. We're going to take a short commercial timeout, and when we return, we'll show you that visit with Tosin as we get you ready for the Duke City Gladiators and your Northern Arizona Wranglers. Stay with us on the countdown to kickoff.
He's here. Anyone want a Coors Light? Light? Oh my.
Oh, shoot, I forgot to play the song.
Thanks, LL Cool J.
I got a guy who can fix this.
We welcome you back to the countdown to kickoff here on the Northern Arizona Wranglers YouTube channel. Ed, big game today in Rio Rancho, New Mexico, as our Northern Arizona Wranglers squaring off against those Duke City Gladiators in the final regular season game of the year. And a big contributor to the Wranglers, especially on offense over the past couple of weeks, has been the young man we're going to bring in right now, wide receiver for your Northern Arizona Wranglers, Tosin Oyekanmi, joining us here on the program. Tosin, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it, and we're looking forward to getting to know you a little bit. Just give us a little bit of your football background and how you became a Northern Arizona Wrangler.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for having me once again. My name is Tosin Oyekanmi. I'm from New York. I played my college ball at Long Island University, and shortly after the season, I was training, and Coach Rod had contacted me to play for the Wranglers. And at first, I didn't know nothing about it, but it was a good opportunity to continue my career. So I figured, why not continue to play football, especially at a professional level. And shortly later, I found myself in Prescott Valley.
So what do you make of Prescott Valley so far, Tosin? I know we're coming toward the end of the season, but it is a great city up there, and the fan base is strong. They love the Northern Arizona Wranglers football team. How have you been acclimating to Prescott Valley since you got there from day one up until this point?
At first it was tough because the time difference from where I'm from is 3 hours ahead. So I had to get used to that at first. But the fans, playing in front of the fans, all our home games, is pretty packed. They always show support, and we definitely do appreciate that. And it's definitely been an adjustment, indoor football to outdoor football, as far as the high motions and stuff like that. 8 people on the field, but it's the more you play, the more reps you get, the more you get used to it. So,
Tosin, how have you been able to fit into this offense? A number of star players on this this offensive unit for the Wranglers, including John Maldonado. I mean, I could go on and on, Kobe White, but you've just seemed to come and fit right in and really help this offense excel to the next level. How have you been able to fit in with the other wide receivers and specifically quarterback Josh Jones?
I mean, just learning the playbook. Once you learn the playbook, you learn all positions. Then Coach Rod really trusts you to put you anywhere. There's only 4 receivers that dress, so the more you know, the more you could play. So for me, it was just learning the playbook, trying to be versatile wherever, and just plug and play situations.
And being able to work with a quarterback like Josh Jones that JP was talking about. This young man came in his rookie season just like yours and just came on like a house on fire. 54 touchdowns. The young man has been great so far for the Northern Arizona Wranglers. What's that relationship been like with JJ and building that relationship between a quarterback and a wide receiver, which is so crucial to the success of a football team?
Yeah, I mean, it starts in practice. You know, we do indies, we do routes on there, just trying to get the timing down packed. Even when we do our motions with the jet sweep and stuff pre-practice, all of that takes into account. And like I said before, the more reps we get together, the better it is on Saturday or Sunday whenever we're playing.
Tosin, now you're from Queens, New York. You played your college football at Long Island University as a member of the Sharks football team. What did you take from that experience that you brought to the program here with the Northern Arizona Wranglers?
Just being patient, really. I wasn't really playing to start the season, but you just got to stay ready, be patient, continue being a good teammate and whatnot, and just believe that your time will come. You know, you'll get more reps as time goes on. So that's really what it taught me. From coming from Long Island, you know, we were fairly new to Division I, so we had to be patient a little bit as well, try to get stuff running, and then as time goes on, we just started to get better.
Has professional football been what you thought it would be, T.O.?
Yeah, for sure. Most definitely. In terms of like the fans coming out, fans traveling and stuff like that, it's definitely different. It's definitely different. So
tell us about Tosin Oyekanmi off the football field. What do you like to do in your spare time? Do you have any hobbies that you enjoy? Just tell us a little about your life off the football field.
Life off the field, I like to shop here and there. I'm into chess a little bit. NCAA just came out, so I'm on that right now. But yeah, pretty chill, laid back guy. I don't really like to do too much, you know, just go bowling sometimes, just chill with the guys.
T.O., what team do you run with on NCAA? Yeah, I know that game is hot and everybody's on that thing. What's your number one squad you like to run with?
I'm playing with Clemson right now.
Ooh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I like
awesome.
that. I like
awesome.
that.
Yeah.
What was it like growing up in New York? You know, it's a little bit different out there on the East Coast than it is out here on the West Coast, especially when it comes to football. Just give us a little breakdown of your younger days there in really in New York City, there in Queens.
Growing up in New York is definitely different from out here. You know, it's things that you could do in New York that you can't do here. There are also things you could do here that you can't do in New York. But growing up in New York, man, it's fast paced. You know, it's a lot of people in New York City. Just people just minding their business, you know, just taking it day by day. But like here, like it's people like to hike and stuff like that. We don't really hike in the city. There's definitely a difference. It's way hotter here than it is in New York City, that's for sure. They got snakes and tarantulas, and like we don't have none of that in New York. So I guess it's definitely an adjustment living here for a little bit.
Yeah, it is. T.O., we were all rocked with the news of us losing Coach Moran a couple of weeks ago. Can you share your feelings on Coach Moran and what he meant to you? And as we're all still dealing with losing Coach, what did he mean to you? And how did you feel being on this team and being a part with Coach Moran?
Coach Moran is definitely a good guy. You know, he was the D coordinator as well as the special teams coordinator. So he had a lot on his plate. You know, we all of the guys gravitated towards him because most of the guys were on special teams. Like myself, I wasn't on defense, but I was on special teams. So we always had that relationship with Coach Moran. And just being on this team, you know, when they won the championship, and even last year, being on this team now with Coach Moran, you definitely see that he's a leader in this community. People look up to him, and the stuff that he did in this community, people respect it.
Tosin, let's talk a little bit about that special teams play. You were running a few kickoffs back on last Saturday inside the Finley Toyota Center. Do you have much experience with that on special teams? And just tell us about that a little bit.
Yeah, with my speed, I've sometimes always been a return guy. This past game, we just try to tweak things a little bit with me back there and just we didn't know what they were going to do on kickoff, but they kept kicking it, giving me more opportunities. Unfortunately, we couldn't break one to the house, but just being back there returning kicks is definitely something that I've done before.
Tosin, over the last couple of weeks, you've really taken off. 11 catches, 3 touchdowns in the Bay Area and Vegas games. What have you seen over yourself, and has your preparation changed over the last couple of weeks that allows you to really up your production level against Bay Area and Vegas? Did you prepare any differently for those games, or is it just you taking advantage of your opportunities?
Yeah, just taking advantage of the opportunity, just being in the moment. Like it starts in practice. You get more reps in practice. You get a feel for the game plan. So game day when Coach Rod is calling the plays, it's nothing that's not too unfamiliar. We know what's going on. We know what defense they're going to run. It's just a matter of executing it on game day. So, I mean, the past 2 weeks it's been hot, but I couldn't do it without my teammates. Like you mentioned before, John, Kobe, Gene, RZ, David, Elder, and Deshaun, we all just feed off each other's energy. I feel like we have the best group because we all could play anywhere. We could play at running back, we could play inside, we could play outside. So just us collectively as a group, we all feed off each other's energy, and we all want to see each other win.
What do you guys enjoy doing most off the field together? I know you guys get to spend as much time as you can together off the field when you're not practicing inside the Finley Toyota Center, and I'm sure this week you've been on the NCAA football game a lot as well with the fellas. What else do you guys like to do together to kind of form that bond off the field?
We go bowling a lot. There's a bowling alley right by our apartment, so we go bowling a lot. We get competitive there too. So yeah, bowling we got our days. We just take turns winning and stuff like that, but we do bowl a lot.
Now, what are you bowling there, Tosin? Give us a little idea how of your bowling prowess.
I probably have one rough game, but I'm probably consistently in the hundreds. But everybody got their off day one day, so I have one bad game. Yeah, I give myself one bad one, but other than that, I'm in the hundreds.
So when you're playing NCAA, are you more an offensive guy, or you kind of rely on your defense, special teams, or you like to have a pretty much balanced team? I know you said you play with Clemson, but what's your style like when you play NCAA?
I like to go no huddle, a little NASCAR action, spread offense, and just pass the ball. Probably go for 12 downs here and there. But yeah, that's the kind of offense I'm running.
He likes to roll those dice, Ed, in that NCAA football game. Now, Tosin, tell us about the mindset going into today's game against the Duke City Gladiators. Obviously, Duke City has struggled most of the season, but, in this game of football, those can be what we call trap games where another team really doesn't have much to play for, and they would love nothing more than to play spoiler. How do you guys handle that, and what's the mindset going into today's game against the Duke City Gladiators in Rio Rancho?
I mean, like you said, we don't see it as a trap game. Duke City, they're not what their record says they are. They play hard. We beat them before, but they tweaked their roster. They have new players, but we just want to win. We can't finish the season with 2 L's. It'd be nice to get back on the winning track and just hopefully San Antonio wins so we could get in the playoff. But regardless, if San Antonio wins or loses, we just want to win. We just want to beat Duke City. Coach Moss said we haven't beat them in Duke City yet, so it'll be nice to beat them in Duke City today.
Yeah, that is tough. As you mentioned, their record is not what is indicated on their roster. That's a good football team that just fell on some hard times throughout the course of the season. It happens to every single football organization over the course of their existence. But you're always going to get your best from Duke City when you go to Rio Rancho. This is not going to be an easy victory today.
Yeah, yes, sir. We gotta practice hard because it's going to be a long road trip for us. And last game of the season, like you said, it's been a long season. We can't get distracted by all the outside noise, all the playoff talk and whatnot. We just got to play Wrangler football and take care of business.
Tosin Oyakami joining us here on the Countdown to Kickoff. Tosin, thank you so much for your time. We wish you nothing but continued success, and we appreciate all you've done for the Northern Arizona Wranglers Ball Club. And, hey, let's go out and get that W today, beat the Gladiators, and then we just got to let the chips fall where they may here as it relates to the postseason. Thank you so much for joining us, my friend.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys once again for having me.
Appreciate you, T.O.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back with more Countdown to Kickoff as we get you ready for your Northern Arizona Wranglers at those Duke City Gladiators in Rio Rancho, New Mexico.
Hi, I'm Dr. John Simon, founder and CEO of Simon Med and founder also of Simon One. I just wanted to talk to you briefly about the process for Simon One. It is super easy. You either call or chat online to schedule. When you arrive, you can just check in on your phone. The examination generally takes about 30 minutes. It can be as short as 15 minutes. Sometimes it's a little bit longer. It's non-invasive, no needles, no preps. When you're done with your exam, you can expect the results to be done in about 24 to 48 hours. You can expect a video chat to be set up to review your results within about a week. Super easy.
Every day, savings, energy efficiency, rebates. Every day you have ways to save energy and money. Schedule a home energy checkup for savings recommendations tailored to your home. Find rebates on smart thermostats, appliances, and more at the APS Marketplace. Compare your rate plan options and switch to the plan that would have saved you the most money. Find ways to save at aps.com/brighter.
We welcome you back to the Countdown to Kickoff here on the Northern Arizona Wranglers YouTube channel. Also coming to you today on the Facebook page as well for your Wranglers. Ed, I got to say, it's been such a privilege to visit with these young men off the field, get to know them a little bit better, and kind of see what makes them tick away from the football field.
You know, it's amazing that that the coaches and the players have to get used to each other and get to know each other just as much as they get used to knowing us and us being able to know them, because we've got to know an entirely new roster of players and names and pronunciations like Oyakami. We had to learn that. and we learned that he was from Queens and everything surrounding him. He loves NCAA. But yeah, it's been a blast over these last 15 games, 18, 19 weeks, getting to know these young men. And yes, this will be the last game, and who knows what's going to happen in the offseason and what this team will look like next season. But today is about taking care of business today, and then the offseason will begin once that game is over and once they get back to Prescott Valley. And then Coach Moss and Mr. and Mrs. DePalma and everybody else in the organization that's up in the upper levels, they'll figure out what we need to do for next season.
Exactly right. The Wranglers have to take care of business today first. They talked about it, wanting to get to that 10-win plateau. That says something for you as a football player, and I think the team is galvanized today, and they're going to go out there and give it their best shot in Rio Rancho. But as we mentioned, it won't be easy inside the home of the Duke City Gladiators.
No, sir. As we mentioned, 8 games this season, folks. They've lost by 9 points or less, Duke City. So they've been in a lot of their games this season. So 2-13 is not what this football team is. And you'll see them play hard, but Northern Arizona has to play harder if they want to get their first victory in Rio Rancho, get on those buses, and head on home with that 10th victory.
We're about 7 minutes away from kickoff inside the Rio Rancho Event Center. So we're going to sign off for now and remind you to come right back here for the halftime show, and we'll wrap it up for the season with the postgame show following the conclusion of today's game between the Duke City Gladiators and your Northern Arizona Wranglers. We will talk to you folks at halftime, and as we always say, Ed, go Wranglers.